Hey there, Witcher fans. It's likely to be quite a while before we actually see anything from Witcher 4, but a decent bit of news about the game has trickled in over the last few months. So let's take a few minutes to recap what we know so far about Witcher 4. Let's start things off with the most concrete piece of news we have. Development on Witcher 4 has officially kicked into high gear, with CD Projekt Red moving a ton of staff, half of the company's developers, over to Witcher 4, codenamed Polaris. Even though we've got a long way to go, this is a sign that things are starting to move in the right direction. At the same time, various statements have emerged offering differing perspectives on the game's story. In a recent interview, Sebastian Kalemba, principal animator for Witcher 3 and Cyberpunk, said, "The Witcher 4 won't be out for some years, and it'll be a long time since the previous one, so we cannot just target the audience already fond of the saga. We must also build a new community. On that note, I believe I can say it'll be an excellent entry point for many players, without forgetting the longtime fans who still wish to follow Geralt's adventures." That last part, about longtime fans who still wish to follow Geralt's adventures, has prompted many to speculate that Witcher 4 will feature the White Wolf as the protagonist. This might be the case, but it's important to remember a few things here. First, if Geralt does return for Witcher 4, the announcement won't come from a developer. It'll be a big, bombastic reveal, probably in a trailer for the game. And no matter how you slice it, just about any game set in the world of The Witcher, with any protagonist, is, in some way, following up on Geralt's adventures. So while it is possible that this comment is a hint that Geralt will be picking up his swords for one more journey in Witcher 4, I wouldn't bet on it just yet. At the same time, Doug Cockle, the voice of Geralt himself, has made a few statements that some folks have sort of run away with. In an interview with IGN, he said that although he lacks insider knowledge, he expects the game to move away from Geralt as a protagonist. Unfortunately, many folks have only focused on the second part of that statement, not the first. This is merely his belief, not something he knows for certain. However, in another interview with IGN, Cockle did say that he'd love to return as Geralt in any capacity, in whatever form CD Projekt Red chooses to use the White Wolf in Witcher 4. This is great to hear, as I think I speak for all Witcher fans in saying that I don't want to hear anyone else voice Geralt. Whether he shows up for a cameo, serves as a mentor, or is indeed the main character, Cockle is the only man who should be voicing the Butcher of Blaviken. Now, if Witcher 4 does indeed move away from Geralt, Cockle's belief is that they'd focus on Siri instead. I'd be down for this, but I could see it being tricky to handle from a gameplay perspective. The thing that makes Ciri's segment so effective in Witcher 3 is that she is, objectively, more powerful than Geralt. I mean, she took on all three of the crones and lived to tell the tale. So it might be challenging to balance Ciri's powers, which we all know are incredibly strong, with giving players a protagonist that still feels vulnerable. It's a topic for another time, but at some point, I will be putting together a video essay on what makes Ciri's chapters so good and so beloved, while other franchises that have tried to emulate this type of secondary protagonist segment, like Spider-Man with Mary Jane and God of War with Atreus, unfortunately, fell a bit short. It would also force CD Projekt Red to canonize some events from Witcher 3, but I doubt fans will have much of a problem with that. This isn't Dragon Age or Mass Effect, where folks are much more protective of the decisions made by their protagonist. The Witcher has always been more of a choose-your-own-path instead of a choose-your-own-adventure type of game. So, in short, it's unclear if we'll be getting Geralt or Ciri as the protagonist for Witcher 4. We have reason to suspect both, but if you ask me, I think Ciri is more likely. Witcher 3 wrapped up Geralt's story as neatly as I could possibly imagine. What's there left for him to do now that he's been reunited with Ciri, settled down with either Yennefer or Triss, and defeated the Wild Hunt? Not much. I'd gladly pay for 5 or 6 more DLCs in the vein of Hearts of Stone or Blood and Wine telling more short stories about Geralt's adventures, but a full game? I just don't think there's much story there. Anyway, regardless of the protagonist, what do we know about the story of Witcher 4? Well, all we've seen so far of the game is this post, which features a never-before-seen Witcher medallion that has since been confirmed to be a lynx. A School of the Lynx has never been mentioned in the games before, but that's not really anything new. Both Witcher 2 and Witcher 3 invented original Witcher schools for the game, but to see a school of CD Projekt Red's own creation as our first image from the game certainly is a bit surprising. If the protagonist is Geralt, I could see the story centering around a mystery involving the School of the Lynx, and if it's Siri, I wouldn't be shocked if the School of the Lynx is a faction she's closely involved with, or maybe even in charge of. The idea of playing a somewhat older, wiser version of Siri tasked with guiding the next generation of Witchers is definitely a tantalizing possibility. If CD Projekt Red is prominently involving a new Witcher school in the game, it would obviously involve a huge departure from the established lore. But that actually lines up with a piece of information about Witcher 4 that's largely flown under the radar, a statement from R. Talsorian Games, developers of the Witcher TRPG. A few months ago, Talsorian revealed they were suspending their work on the Witcher TRPG, which already boasts a full-length rulebook and several supplements because CD Projekt Red was beginning work on The Witcher 4. In the statement, they said, "As CD Projekt Red begins work on the fourth Witcher video game, we've been collaborating to make sure that the information between our two products stays as connected as possible. We've had countless meetings covering days' worth of time discussing the lore of the continent and the direction of the Witcher franchise. What we've come to realize is that it would be extremely difficult, or perhaps impossible, to continue work on the Witcher TRPG line at the moment and still maintain the connection with CD Projekt Red's upcoming plans." Out of everything we've discussed so far, I honestly think this is the most significant piece of news we have on Witcher 4. For Talsorian to suspend support for one of their major TRPG products because of whatever CD Projekt Red is planning for the upcoming game says a lot if you ask me. Reading between the lines here, it suggests that their planned changes go beyond just adding another Witcher school. Otherwise, you'd think that Talsorian would be able to at least release some small updates for the game here and there. The idea of CD Projekt Red making groundbreaking changes to the established universe is something I find to be both exciting and concerning. They've told some great stories across their 3 games, many of which were made possible thanks to changes they made to the lore. But just look at the Netflix series. Fans want nothing to do with it anymore for a variety of reasons, but chief among them is the fact that the writers have deviated so dramatically from the source material. So CD Projekt Red making big changes, as opposed to the wrinkles and adjustments we're used to from them, leaves me a bit leery that they might end up taking things a bit too far. But for more clarity on that, we'll have to wait till we hear more from the development team. Stay tuned for more news on Witcher 4. I'll be covering it every step of the way from here on out. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.